All right, man. Look, hey, got my man. Look, me and this dude right here. Hey, we go back a minute. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
A ways all the way back to Germany, man. I definitely glad we can sit down, man, have this conversation, man. This is my folks right here.
Yes, indeed, man. I appreciate the opportunity to sit down. I've been paying attention to your movement, your podcast. Great subject matter. I'm proud of you. So, thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And this ain't like necessarily, a podcast deal. Just me and my boy, sitting down to chop it up, have real long overdue conversation. Some of this stuff, the people out there, they might be thinking, uh, I ain't really figured out what I want to call it yet. You know what I'm saying? But this might be a real talk at the door. or
Hey,
something like that.
what we say, man, Shannon Sharp got club, Shay did, he got nightcap. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. Sometimes you just need real dialogue, real conversation, uncensored, and let people see the inside of the psyche of us as men, particularly us as black men, and understand the complexities of it all. So, man, hey, I'm excited.
Absolutely. So all right, so let's go. Let's go way back. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to Germany.
All right, so
Uh,
what we looking at? 2012? No,
no,
no, no, nine.
2010,
Yeah,
2009.
nine, nine.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That
yeah.
time frame,
Yeah, because
man.
we make some changes in around 2012.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look, brother. Hey, we are much different, man. Hey, than we was back. Hey, look, bro. I remember, bro. We went out all, bro. We went to the club all the time. What I say, all the time, all the time.
Yeah. The Vamos, the Mouse Trap,
Oh, the mama
all of it.
probably. Hey, it was nothing, bro. It was nothing like that time. Me and
Yeah.
you, we had several conversations about this, man. But like, I don't know, man. You like, how you like in life. Sometimes I feel like you blessed to get several different groups of people that you
Yeah.
interact with. That's like them your folks.
Yeah.
For me, Germany, man. That time, that crew we had in Germany was like no other. Like the love, the fellowship, the respect. I mean, we could count on each other. I mean, like we were really a family, man. I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate that time. You know what I mean? I remember I used to be at
Yeah.
your crib all the time. You know what I'm saying? No, I ain't had no. Hey, look, I was in the barracks then. I ain't had
Yeah.
no. I
Yeah.
ain't had
That
no
part.
crib. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like you said, I think one of the most important parts of that time to reflect on was it wasn't just with a bunch of group of friends. We was like an extended family. We could
Mhm.
talk about whatever. We had some other endeavors that we was a part of that we shared that extended that connection. But everybody's house was everybody's house. Whatever you was cooking, everybody can come eat, man. Like the fellowship there is missed. It's definitely a different vibe. Like, of course, we love being back here stateside, but if you've never experienced life overseas and finding your community, you don't know what that's really like, man.
Man, look, hey, you said a mouthful. I say all the time, people don't understand when you go to a place like Germany where not a lot of people look like us. And then I'm gonna take it. Now I'm not even necessarily just talking about black people. I'm just
Yeah,
talking about Americans in general, right?
exactly.
It forces you to build these relationships with people that maybe in some other settings you probably wouldn't be rocking with them like that, man. But that close knit, like that. Look, I tell people all the time, Germany was the best experience I ever had
Yeah.
in the United States Army,
Yes.
hands down.
Hands down, bro. Hands down. I could definitely say the same, man. We learned to grow up as young men. We learned to really lean on each other as men. We learned how to be better friends. I mean, those of us that was in relationships, we learned the ups and downs of those relationships, and we was able to lean in on each other. Um, I don't know. It's like the camaraderie was at an all-time high because we had to have each other. So I definitely agree.
Absolutely. So I do too. And I felt like when I left Germany, right, that same type of camaraderie, I find myself kind of searching for it. Now, granted, what I'm saying, I have definitely found, my bro, my circle always been
Yeah,
small. Like
yeah,
I ain't one of them type dudes, man. Got a whole lot of people
yeah,
around my way, around my corner. Cause I like to just I like to stay off to myself, man, because I feel like a lot of times, man, when you invite the wrong type cats And we don't look, we both have done that. You like the wrong cats in your circle, especially dudes or women that don't want to see you win.
Yeah.
You got all that type stuff going on,
Yeah.
right? And I have had those experiences where, I might have thought you was for me,
Yeah.
but somewhere along the way, either your agenda changed or your agenda was always not to be for me.
Well, and I think one of the things that we had to understand is there's a difference in life creating opportunities for you to move forward, and maybe that created some sense of distance or separation, opposed to, like you're saying, people that we openly embraced as brothers, as friends, and they really had no intentions of being genuine. It's about, what can I get from you? What can I take from you? You know what I'm saying? And it's hard when you're a genuine person that you pride yourself on keeping your circle close, and you let that one or two in, and you're like, man, I thought I had screened you.
Oh man, look, hey, what you hear? Hey, I let a few of them in. They don't, they snuck in through the back door on your boy. I was like, come on, now, I thought we were good. Don't do me like that.
I thought we was on that faithful, you know?
Yeah. Hey man, hey, look, this why we gotta tap in, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's nothing like you don't know me for a while, right? A lot of people I deal with now know this version of me that they see now, right?
Yeah.
So they don't know, the struggle. They don't know when I had, was going through this over here and that over there, and the world was crashing down around me. All they see is this product that's in front of them now. So it's good, like, to come back full circle and chop it up with people who have been in my life for like a long time, or even like our relationship. We always got this unwritten, man. Like, whatever, hey, what's understood ain't got to be explained.
Exactly.
We can go 6-7 years without talking at all.
But we know if we do. Yeah. And as soon as we link or we see something pop up, we reach out, we congratulate, we encourage, we keep the relationship. It's like there's a continuous path. Even if there's a pause, it's not a stop. It's just a pause, and then we pick it back up and keep it going. So I definitely appreciate that as well, my brother.
Yeah, man. Hey, so I always wanted to ask this, man. You know what I'm saying? He's in that I'm trying to see what's the politically correct word for it. When you ride bikes. What's the I don't want to use I don't want to
disrespect the club. We're in a motorcycle club.
Oh, okay, all right. In a motorcycle club. Man, bro, how did you get into that, man? How, for real? Like, talk to me on that.
So it's kind of goes back a little bit to what you were saying about understanding community, searching for community, knowing that you're different and not really understanding your pathway. So when we was in Germany, bro, before, matter of fact, let me back up a little bit. While I was still in Fort Hood, I used to see cats riding around on bikes all the time, and I'm like, I know how to ride, but I don't own a bike. So when I got to Germany, it was such an isolated experience that I went ahead and bought a bike, started riding around, started finding like-minded people. Then I started doing research. And there was an organization that I'm gonna shout them out today. I'm gonna shout out to the Double R Rough Riders. We all knew about DMX. So over there, that was what I seen. So I started to hang out with those guys. But it wasn't until I relocated back stateside that I really started to get fully involved in it. Traveling the world, traveling out across the United States, meeting people from all different walks of life that shared in this experience, that understood, yes, I'm a professional individual, but when I'm in this world, I get to shift the persona. I get to let go of the baggage or the stress of having to be on, and I could create this persona and be free to explore life. So for me, man, it's the freedom of riding a motorcycle is the greatest therapy that I've ever had. It's you isolated with your machine, and then just the opportunity to reflect on where you are in life. It's you one-on-one with yourself, with your thoughts for hours. You either gonna embrace it or it's gonna drive you crazy. Like, I don't want to ride no more. I'm done with this, man. This is too much.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I probably would never get into it. I'm gonna tell you why. Look, I know it's random. I'm like one of them dudes, man. I think I got the worst look of them all, bro. I get on there first time and come up off that thing, you know what I'm saying? Pelvis bone broke. Like, I'm good off that. Hey, but look, on another note, you were talking about the persona and being able to let go. What I have learned that I probably didn't necessarily know back then as a lesson when we were in Germany is how, again, being in the army, it's different. We're getting told what to do, how to do it,
Yeah.
when to do it, right? So in a way, like we were kind of institutionalized in a kind of like robotic sense, right? So I know if I'm gonna be told to do this, I can kind of, on
Yeah.
a day-to-day basis, I know what my work day gonna be like, right?
Exactly.
Whereas then back then, so I'm used to a certain routine, that kind of stuff. And now, like at this age, understanding that like it's all right to be in all those different spaces,
Yeah.
right? All those different spaces are a part of you. But what I find is people, they try to, you got a lot of people out here try to poke holes in your game, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
on one end, let's say, all right, so I mean, there's obviously, motorcycle clubs have definitely over the years got a bad rap for different stuff,
Yeah.
right? And all of it is not applicable, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, well, if I'm doing this, right? If I'm over here and I'm doing community service or whatever the case may be, right? And then I'm another part of another organization, or I might be doing XYZ. At what point is it like, hey man, hey, people just need to learn. You need to learn how to mind your own business, because hey, straight up.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, man. The simple answer is it begins with you. Even though there's a persona, there's still a certain level of reality to that persona. There's something about that persona that either amplifies the strength in you, or amplifies, encourages you, it amplifies the comedic side of you. The persona pushes you. I'll give you a perfect example. People say that you got that liquid courage, right? People that
Mhm.
drink or whatever, when it creates a space to allow the inebriations to take over. Well, the persona is the same thing, but the persona is still your reality. So you have to learn to be first authentic to who you are yourself, and then
Mhm.
you gotta have the strength to ensure that people can't have this cloud over you to keep you in a box. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I could say, kind of going back to how we connected. You have always been you in the midst of the good, in the midst of the bad. You have been able to stand within your truth, and this is who I am. And I think that was one of the things that helped us gravitate. So for me, I don't allow people to pull me out of spaces that doesn't involve this one. If I'm at work and and I'm teaching a class, and one of my students made to see me somewhere on my bike, and he's like, "Yo, Professor Beasley, hey, I seen you out with your motorcycle club. Hey, talk about that out the class. Let
Yeah.
us shift gears. Like that doesn't have anything to do with this unless it's overlaps in this particular way. But like you said, people are so quick to judge, and a lot is based upon, I feel, their own fear of letting go to be true to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel that. Then, I think in that same aspect, the fear of letting go of being themselves, people, or even though they won't necessarily voice it, they'll show you in their
Yeah,
actions that they're either envious. It's a lot of jealousy moving around in the world, or maybe it's this space that you created, or something that you're doing that now
yeah,
you're doing it, right?
yeah,
Oh man, I wanted to do that. Why he had
yeah.
to jump in there and be able to do it, man? Everything is not for everybody, my guy. It's not, right?
I seen a very interesting quote the other day. It said that your talent is not for you. Whatever your talent is to be utilized to bless and help others. And from that blessing of others, you receive the benefit of wisdom and growth. And I thought about that. I'm like, wait a minute. So I draw, I do this, but I thought I did it because I like it. No, people get edification from it. So when we
Mhm.
start to recognize that because somebody is able to do something that you want to do, maybe it wasn't meant for you because you wouldn't even know how to take care of that gift or that talent for the
Yeah.
good. You'd be like, hey man, look, I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna need a little change though on top of that. You're like,
Make me off a little something there. I think that's actually too, man. I feel like that's how I got into this kind of space where I'm operating in now, right?
yeah,
Uh, I realized that in some form or fashion, everybody has the ability to influence, whether it be in a negative way or a positive way. There's
mm,
big circles of influence and there's small circles of
yeah,
influence. Then you got those in the middle, right? And so I just find myself like now just trying to. I feel like at this later stage, like as I've gotten older, I become more diverse or creative in my thinking, right?
yeah,
The stuff we were talking about in 2010, is not. I mean, don't get me wrong. We talk about it to reminisce on the past,
Yeah,
right? We both like we're like night and day, man. From
yeah,
then, bro, like straight up, like, hey, look, we was wearing big baggy clothes. Hey, we had it was a bunch of white. We thought it was a franchise, boy. These bunch of white teens going, it's just
uh,
different.
yeah,
And I like too, man. I from afar, I definitely got to see you, like, man, like really like evolve, and like, man, it's dope because it's like, man, I know, like, I'm like we was in our 20s, you know what I'm saying? We
yeah,
made each other. Now you got grown children. I got grown
yo,
children. Like this,
bro.
hey, bro, that mean we getting old, bro.
Because you know what though, and for a long time when let's go back to the days, while we're still in our 20s and we feel like we got the rest of our life ahead of us.
Ooh,
I'm recognizing now I am who my father was to my son, who he was to me then. And
mhm.
that realization actually didn't scare me as much as I thought it would. It more so I'm grateful to be able to give my son advice. When my son decided to join the military, one of our last big conversations, I said, "You recognize now that that's your father, I can't tell you what to do no more, right?" And he was like, "What you mean?" I say, "You are a young man, so now our relationship has transitioned.
Yeah,
Now I give you wholesome advice, and I hope you adhere to the advice that I'm giving you as a father. But I can't tell you you're gonna do this." And I start to reflect on that, man. So it's like you said, looking back at who we were and where we are, it's great to understand that we had enough wisdom to allow growth and change to come into our life, but we still stay true to us. And I think that's what scares people. They think that if you're growing, then that means you're changing. But change is not bad when it is for the betterment of you. What we want to do is we don't want to leave nobody. But
yeah.
bro, we all leave somebody, but that don't mean that we can't come back to get you. It just means that I had to go over here. And we're not gonna get religious, but there's a verse that
Hey,
says,
hey, say what's
"Hey,
on your heart, brother. Say what's on
but
your heart.
but there's a verse, and I'm going to paraphrase that in my father's house there's many mansions, and that was not so when I have told you. But then he also said, I'm going to go to prepare a place for you, that where I am, that you may also be. So we have to be willing to step away and grow and develop to prepare an avenue of approach. Because we all stay on the same path, bro. We ain't
Yeah,
gonna never get nowhere. And we
straight
have
up.
to give people that grace, bro. But we also have to give ourselves grace that we are flawed. We're gonna make mistakes, and it's okay as long as you go back and start working on it.
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
look, bro. Hey man, look, man. Hey, you sound like I don't know. You sound like a senior deacon or a young pastor.
And
What?
hold on. And then and as a
Hey, hey, look, man. Hey, look, bro. You are here cooking, man. You know, you made a good point too, man, about the grace, man. I think that's something that I've also as I've gotten older, like, like really try to take in, like, I'm talking about grace for myself,
yeah,
right? Because you got to give it to
yeah,
yourself first, right?
yeah,
And just understanding that, hey man, like you said, bro, we are flawed, we make mistakes. It is not the end of the world. I think a lot of times, like you said, like you've been you
yeah,
since I've known you, bro. Like, ain't like same true to yourself, same at heart, man, same friendship, same loyalty, like all that. Nothing about you has changed. You're just getting older, and you
yeah,
know what I'm saying. And then with being older comes this level of wisdom, right?
yeah,
But I think for some people, man, they get stuck in this, either you judge a book by its cover, or right, because
yeah,
I know me and you get this a whole lot. Judge a book by its cover because you don't really
mm,
want to open the book to read the chapters in it,
yeah.
right?
And
Or
I don't mean to cut you off because
go ahead, go
I
ahead.
want to make sure that I address that point right there. You remember back in school when you was a kid, they used to come with like the book fair. They used
Hmm.
to give you the book covers that you can fold and do all the mad design. That's the same as life.
Yeah,
See, the outer cover is simply that. It might be there to protect the book. It might be there to draw you in, but it's not always reflective of what the information is. And if we continue to look at a person and assume we know them based on what we see, we are doing ourselves a disservice.
man. Look, man, hey, man. I ain't. Hey, look, man. You don't got. That boy don't got wide, super wide. But hey, look. Hey. Bees, I'm gonna tell you what we need to do, bro. You
Yeah.
need to write a book, bro. You need to put that on. Hey, bro. Hey, I'm gonna tell you why. This is what look, because I've known you long enough to know you have a really interesting story, right?
Mm,
And your story is just continuing as we get older. You know what I mean? Like the story ain't stopped. You know what I'm saying? There's so many pages, bro. Like you just talked about, like when you going back to school and going to a book fair. Like you said, man, we don't know what the story is for, but also I know that your gift, like you said, is for somebody else, man. I know. Look, hey, you can sell water to a well. You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, man. Like I've been told that I need to write one for the longest, and I really want to. If I'm gonna be very transparent to you and the listeners, and hopefully this will help somebody. My fear of succeeding has crippled me at times, and the reason why I have dealt with imposter syndrome for a lot of my life.
Mhm.
I am extremely educated, but from a young age, I was told I was not meant to go to college. I'm not meant to be educated. You would never be able to do it. But here I am, almost done with my PhD, two masters, two bachelors. I have done those things. So now to be in a position to say that I have something to say, but are they going to listen? Or who am I to say this? But
Right.
it's like you said, if there's a message, it needs to be spoken, and whoever it's for, they will receive it. So we have to stop allowing ourselves to be so crippled by our fear of the unknown that we just have to allow it to be manifested.
Absolutely. And that's just like me and you talked about, even like when I do like the podcast or I have different
Yeah,
shows, right? I've always said that, if it was a lot of people who follow it and, was feeling what I was saying or were tuned in, that would be great, right?
yeah,
But it was never, that's not where I'm going. That's not my overall intention.
yeah,
The thing is for me to make content that's true to myself, the things that
mm,
I want to talk about, the things that that also the community wants to hear, you know, like those things matter. Because if it's one person, two people, 150 people, like even like if you
yeah,
write, you decide to write the book, bro, the people who are supposed to buy that book and supposed to be touched by that book is gonna happen
yeah,
regardless.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? So you might as well do it. So hey, look, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Hey man, in a couple years or next year, whatever the case, I ain't putting you on the timeline. My bad,
yeah,
my bad. Whatever you want to do the book, hey man, look, let me know so I can be one of the first buyers.
yeah.
I'm gonna get. Hey, look, I'm gonna get it all. I'm gonna get the hardback. I'm gonna get that mug on Kindle. Hey, I want it all, bro.
Oh man, yeah, and and I've actually have been kind of working with a couple of titles and stuff. I've been writing a little bit here and there, and I'm gonna go ahead and actually continue to push it forward and do some things. But I have a question for you. From the time we've known each other, we have had similar affiliations and things like
Mhm.
that. To now, we're both have broadened our perspective and made other endeavors and things like that. When you reflect over the principles and the values and the legacies of these organizations and things that we have in common, how do you feel like it has helped create the man that you are now versus maybe if you hadn't ever stepped into those arenas?
I think that is a very layered question.
Yeah.
But I will
Hey, that
attempt
man
to.
using my word. You know what?
Yeah,
That's kind of layered, but I'm
yeah.
trying to give you a little bit of the sauce on it.
Man. Hey, look, that's what happened. That's what happened when we get degrees. You know what I'm saying? We just, we just get. Oh man, the rhetoric you're using. There's so many allegories in which, yeah, you know what I'm saying. We get like
Now are
that.
you looking for the quantitative or the qualitative data
Yeah.
of it? And how would you like me to present this
Yes.
when it's
Yes, good sir. I think for sure it is definitely a part of the fabric of how I am now
yeah,
in certain aspects. So I feel like you said, I've always been me, right?
yeah,
Now there might be some changes based on situation or whatever. I think from an organizational standpoint, many of those organizations uh enhance some of the things that I already thought from like a principle standpoint.
Yeah,
Um, I think like any organization, there's kind of like a give take, right?
yeah,
So I know that I am a different person and I have a different outlook based on being in different organizations, right?
yeah,
Because again, different organizations, they you can venture into different fields, different opportunities, that kind of stuff, right? But in the same respect, I also feel like as a person, even when you join an organization, you the individual must have something to bring to that table to enhance that organization or make that
yes,
organization better. It's almost like when we was in the army, we used to always say when we go to a unit or whatever, we always want you lead the organization better than you found it.
yes,
So I think, yeah, man, I think it definitely. I think I would still be me, right?
yeah,
But I think it's almost if you were blinded for 20 some odd years and then all of a sudden somebody took the veil off and said, hey man, now you can see, right?
yeah,
Like we don't know what that's like without having it because we have it.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's
yeah.
kind of like I mean, I hope that answers your question. You're gonna
No,
make me go, hey
no,
bro, you're gonna make me go on a tangent. But hey, look, man, reverse. I pose the same question to you. How do you feel about being a different organization? Do you feel like you would still be this version, or how you feel about that?
I feel like similar to what you're saying, I am who I am at my core, at my essence. I am still who I always would be. But I would say that being a member of these organizations created a thirst for more knowledge, a thirst for unification, a thirst
Mhm.
for what it means to embrace something bigger than you to the point that you submit yourself to be a better version. I think I learned what service means by being a member of these organizations because we all know people that have joined organizations and the first thing they wanted to do was show the world that they had joined these organizations. So
Mhm.
they wanted instant gratification, they wanted all the benefits, they wanted all of the likes
Right,
and all that
right.
stuff. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But those of us that joined these organizations because we knew that it was a greater purpose, we hit the ground and started to work. We humbled ourselves. Thank you for allowing us entry. But now that I am here, now the work begins. But I also think
Absolutely.
a lot of that came from our military experience too, because you ain't bigger than the army.
Oh yeah, no, nobody bigger than Uncle Sam.
Hey, you can believe what you want. You can come in here with an attitude. I'm gonna take that time. I'm gonna take that money. You still gonna go do what I told you to do. So we learned that humbleness. But I will say, bro, I think that moving forward, I am I am the seasoned brother or the seasoned member of my organization. And because of that, I find great joy in helping the next generation get their time to shine. It's
Hmm.
nothing more proud. I mean, I'm never prouder than when I'm able to sit back and watch guys or young ladies that come into a different organization I'm a part of earn their place and see that light. It's
Yeah.
almost like having a kid, like, oh my God, it's fresh. And as long as we help provide them with the right skills and the right mindset, they can be great at this. But like you said, if we get them bad advice, then we're creating the next generation of awful members. I can't stand them.
Uh, hey, but look, but I feel like, man, in all these organizations though, like that is even just in life in general, that is our charge
Yeah,
to be those, that sounding board, positive, influence, all that type of stuff. I think a lot of times what happens is when you're trying to make an impact, right?
yeah.
A lot of times when you come into certain scenarios, people say, hey, man, you're doing too much too soon, too fast, right? Hey, like you need to slow down, not realizing that everybody's journey is their own individual journeys at their own. Hey, look, like when you do the PT test, like you're gonna do it at your own pace and distance, doing it at their own pace and distance. And I think a lot of times what happens is, man, people because people don't understand like where you're trying to go and your passion, right? Sometimes instead of being a help, they end up being a hindrance.
Oh my God.
Like, man, just get out the way, bro.
You don't even want to be here. I
At
don't
all.
want to be here.
Get out the way.
So let me go and do it and we'll both shine.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when I get through, I'm gonna share the credit.
Hey, but that's like, you know what? That's look, same premise. That's also like vision, bro. Like I realized, man, let me tell you, I remember when we was in Germany, I used to see you all the time, but you know, initially I didn't know you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But somehow we used to always be in the same place, right? And eventually we just got to chop it like, okay, all right, okay, I know you now. And but like even then, like I can honestly say, man, that back then, bro, you were way more mature and way more decisive than I was back then. Like you was already making the moves that come to fruition years later. You was already doing that. Me, I was just trying to make it this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, talking about, hey, bro. Matter of fact, bro, I remember you were in college when we was in Germany.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting up watching you one time. You're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get my degree. And I'm like, man, I ain't trying to mess with none of that. I get it. Hey, look, boy, we gotta go to work on Monday.
Yeah, man. It's funny that you mentioned that though. Education has always been something that I consider, but kind of like I said before, having people that I cared about telling me that I'm not college material derailed me.
Mm-hmm.
But I would always reflect on my mom raising me, my brother, and my sister at 33, 34 years old, working full time, going back to college, bro. And that inspired me. So once I got that thirst for education, I just never stopped. Like I tell my students now, I work at a major university right now. I am a college professor. I teach these students. I go to work looking like this, letting the tattoos pop, you know what I mean? But it helps me to be relatable to this new generation of students and they're willing to listen. But like I tell them, knowledge is not about the classroom. You should be knowledgeable every day and you should be seeking education. And one of the biggest educations that we have is that we're all different. It's in the things that we don't agree upon that we can learn the most about each other.
Yeah.
But the problem is that we use our disagreements or the things that we see differently as an avenue of division instead of an avenue of pulling. Yeah. See, you might like steak and eggs, and I can't stand steak. But you tell me, but the reason why you don't like the steak is because you never had it prepared the right way. So now I'm going to trust you to guide me through the process to teach me something new. If we can get back to that, like you said, the vision, right? Help people understand the vision. Imagine how much further we can go, man, as a collective.
Oh man, look, it would be something devastating, man, something serious. You look, I want to say this too because I know you talked about the education piece, and I want to say this because I don't know, man. It's something that I'm from Mississippi, right? So some of those same like things you battled growing up is like a thing for me, right? When I was growing up, education, we in terms of numbers, we wasn't that far up there, and so I've always tried to be the exception to the rule, not the rule.
Yeah,
right? So I think sometimes people, like prime example, like chopping it up right now. Now we both dudes from the South, so we got a lot of South slang, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I never want anybody to confuse rhetoric and playful banner with being miseducated, because that's one thing we're not.
Yeah.
Look, we got that. I got a couple things hanging up back there too. To substantiate, that you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people they take what we're doing and we're saying out of context. So I'm always a Mississippian. Till it's over with for me. So I'm always gonna have certain words I say. However, I do understand that when I matriculate into different settings, then I adapt to the setting, right? There's never a place where I feel uncomfortable, right? Sometimes people will shrink themselves in a place to make other people feel comfortable while they're there. Hey, we are not. Look, I'm gonna say South like we ain't doing none of that.
Ain't none of that going.
No, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I mean, and to your point, I know I'm different. Visually, I know I'm different. I
Mm-hmm.
have visual tattoos all over the place. Sometimes I dress a little more urban and all that. But it's like you said, I know how to maneuver in the environment. But the one thing I'm gonna always show up as is me. And my aura and my presence is gonna be felt. I might
Yeah,
be the only person that look like me, but everybody gonna remember me. And then when we sit down and start having dialogue, no, let's actually break these numbers down. Because see, the things that you're trying to say to me, you think you're talking over my head, but actually you're misquoting yourself. And
yeah.
this is the particular reason why. See, I'm very well versed, sir. And actually, now let me help you out with a little bit more, and I'm gonna give you a little bit of southern slang with it. See, you got to understand who you are, and you got to let that show
Yeah,
in these rooms as well, and let people know my vernacular may sound one thing, but I know 2 + 2 and 2 × 2 = 4.
yeah.
Don't get it confused. Now we can
Straight
go
up.
there.
Hey, look, bro. I remember this was like 20, this was last year, 2023. So in El Paso, we always got like different issues regarding immigration and
Yeah,
migrants and border patrol protection, all that kind of stuff. And I remember in 2023, uh, our now president, Joe Biden, he came down here because we had a migrant crisis. It was crazy, bro. And I never forget, man. I actually was on the flight line when he landed here, right? Because for one of the organizations I work for, we were out there trying to get press coverage as he was coming in. You know how stuff like that
yeah,
works, right? And look, bro, only black person there, straight up. Nobody else is black. Nobody's close to being black. And I remember I just kind of I sat back and I looked around for a second and I was like, and for some people that would make them feel out of place. But for me, don't get me wrong, I always want to see more of us in
mm,
different genres, different circles.
mm,
But for me at that time, I said, man, you know what, God, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Because how
mm,
many people can say, man, look, bro, look, I'm talking about I literally recover I not recovered. I was recording Governor Greg Abbott as he was giving his thoughts on the migrant crisis. Like
mm,
I'm there, bro. Like he's sitting right in front of me and I'm recording him talk.
no,
Man, we don't always find ourselves in spaces like that. So it's like when you're trying to tell somebody, hey, look, man, I understand what you're saying, but I do this for real.
yeah,
Like, like I've been in some places that most people like. I mean, what it's like to get,
yeah.
when you got to go through the Secret Service check
Come on
to
now.
go be in a place. Come on, that's
Yeah,
different, bro.
and it's like you said, man. For me, I'm always reminded of who couldn't do this.
Yeah,
See, bro, we being from the South and we being from the real South. See, I'm part of the last group of integrated schools in the state of Arkansas, bro. I was in the 3rd grade when they did the last set of integration in the state of Arkansas where there were still black schools, white schools. You don't talk to white girls, you don't talk to white boys, all this. Like I'm from that clause to my grandmother had a 2nd grade education. So when I'm reminded of what they wasn't able to do, what they wasn't able to obtain, why would I uh, why would I take that for granted and not push myself? So it's like you said, if I'm going to be the only one in here, not only am I going to do the job right, but I'm going to be authentic and true to who I am. No, I belong here too, just like you do.
yeah,
My credentials are approved,
yeah,
just like yours. So before you try to son me, recognize that I have a son, so I'm a father. And I can stand in this place too, man. And it's good that we are able to be in these rooms to show people that we are not only worthy, but it is our right as well. But you gotta do the work. You
yeah,
gotta be prepared, bro. You can't talk about a problem if you're not willing to do the work to be able to have some form of a solution. And that's
yeah,
one of the things that I watch with you. You are very goal oriented, you're motivated, you're driven, and that passion is necessary. And that passion is also essential for someone, not just our children to see, but there's a lot of little black boys out here that ain't got daddies around, man, that can't do nothing but gravitate to big unk though. Hey,
yeah,
hey, hey, unk. Hey, unk, can I talk to you? You sure
yeah. Straight
can.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, man. Hey, me and you, man, we gonna couple, man. Look,
Yeah.
couple times out the year, but we got we
Hey,
got
let's
to
do
do
it,
this
man. Let's do
for
it, bro.
real. Look, let me ask this question too. So obviously, we talked about a little bit about being parents, right?
Yeah.
Now you're an older parent than you were when I first
Yeah.
met you. What is the hardest part, man, in your opinion, about being a parent?
The balance between being a parent and being a friend. What I have noticed is that it's important for me to be friendly
Mm-hmm.
with my children. Get them access to have room to actually come and express what's really going on and not just be so hell bent on do what I say, do what I say, do what I say. With my sons, it's a little bit easier because I understand the male perspective a whole lot better than I do the female perspective. I'm not one.
Yeah.
With my daughters, it was a little more difficult because I was always in protective mode. And they said, Daddy, you have taught me. Allow me to demonstrate that you taught me well. You have to let go of the reins a little bit to give me room to move so you can see that I can actually walk. So that's the hard part in realizing that there's going to come a day when we can't protect them. No matter what we do, no matter what we say, whatever life has in store for them, they're going to have to be mentally and emotionally prepared to face it. I got a son in Japan now, and I got a daughter that's in San Antonio and one on her way to LSU. So my children are living their own lives. I'm just glad they still want to talk to daddy sometimes.
Yeah, I feel you because hey, it come a point. Hey, at some point you ain't cool no more, man. You ain't the guy I want to call and
Yeah,
stuff.
man.
I'm gonna talk to Unc or I'm gonna
Yeah,
talk to
yeah.
my friend over here about
Yeah,
this.
man. I'm gonna talk to Mr. Market, Dad. What you mean you talking to Mr. Market? Hey, why you don't tell me? Nah, I can't tell you.
Man, look, one of the craziest things too about being a parent is you could be telling you could tell your child the same thing a
Yeah,
hundred times, right? And for some reason it doesn't stick, it doesn't
at
resonate.
all.
And then some just random person off the street and come up and say the same thing, and then the light bulb just go, oh, I get it. Oh, so I've been telling you that for 25 years, and now Joe Fluffy over here tell you and now you get it, right? Okay, yeah,
Uh,
that makes a lot of sense.
you know what? My soul really does hurt right now. I don't did all this and been the bad guy, and he come along, and now he's like your hero. Okay,
Ah,
cool. Yeah, man.
yeah.
Well, I have a question for you. Same vein. Where do you recognize that you're different from a new father to now your children have gone? Like, what's the difference in your parenting style or the way you embrace, particularly your very first child being born, to now your children are moving up in age? What's the difference?
I think one definitely more experience because there's a difference between going from being not being a father to being a father, or
Yeah,
being a father already, and then you just have other children.
yeah.
So I was always excited, to see the birth of all of my children. My oldest son was born when I was 19. I was in college. I literally know I can't make this up, bro. It was my second semester. I literally just dropped out of school, bro. I didn't even disenroll the
Yeah.
correct way. I just stopped coming, right? So let that be a lesson to y'all. Do not disenroll from school the incorrect way. There are steps and procedures to follow to disenroll from school.
Oh man.
But I digress. Back to your question.
Mm.
Uh I think the wisdom of actually being a parent, there were some situations where I went through with my older son that I can impart on my younger
Oh
children
boy.
now. I think that one of the things I always I tried it then, but I'm more so now in tune with it now. It's just leading with love, right? I give an
Oh
example,
yeah.
right? There used to be times, man, like I'm a disciplinarian, right?
Yeah.
By nature, right?
From the
I'm to keep it
south.
real. So a lot of times, I would be upset with my children, right?
Mm.
And they deserve to be punished. But I also realize as I've gotten older that when you are angry, that is not the time to try to
Yeah.
punish your children,
Yeah.
right? You need to wait where you could be clear headed and give it some time to process. That way you're making sure that when you do allocate or give that punishment, right, you did it with a clear head, right?
Yeah.
We do a lot of stuff, man, based on emotion. And we make some bad decisions based off emotion
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. And then the other different dynamic for me now too is my daughter is the youngest, right?
Yeah.
And you know as well as I do, there's a different parenting style when it comes to your sons and your daughter. It's different, right? Like
Amen.
I had to get on my daughter today about something, right? And it hurt my heart because that's my baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, with my sons, it's more of a direct like
Yeah.
approach. Like
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily trying to hurt their feelings,
Yeah.
but hey, Pop gonna be real with you. You
Yeah.
finna get it.
Yeah.
Now with my daughter, I noticed that sometimes, I could sugarcoat some.
Yeah.
I think I'm much more emotionally aware of how sensitive she is too,
Yeah.
right? She's more sensitive than my sons. I could say something to my daughter, man, and it'll hurt her feel. She'll start crying, all that kind of stuff. And so I just try to be cognizant of it. However, if she does something really out of bounds,
Mm.
I have to check her because I
Yeah.
know as my father, as a father to her, I just told her that today too. As your father, it is my responsibility. When you stray off the path, I got to go
Yeah.
get you and put you back on the right path.
Yeah.
And you're not always gonna agree with that, but you don't have to because you're the child and I'm the
Yeah.
parent.
It's interesting that you say that because that kind of ties back into being a parent. I want to make sure I say this correctly. So I have multiple children, but I do have a daughter that is by another young lady. So she lives in an entirely different area. She probably helped me have one of the most difficult conversations I have ever had in my life, but yet one of the most fulfilling conversations as well. Me and her mother were young, both in the military when she was born. Life being life, neither one of us was in a position to relocate or move. So of course, I'm a child support dad. They get to see you, and I get to see you, and all this type of stuff. But I
Mhm.
always was there. But as time went on, it became a strenuous relationship. And one day out of nowhere, my daughter was probably like maybe 13, 14 at this time. We had got reconnected and all the things. Me and her mom had a very long conversation. And her mom apologized. She was like, I was young and I felt the way, so I handled things a little wrong. And because of that, we began to have a great relationship. But the situation I'm referring to, my daughter asked me a question one day. She said, Daddy, if you loved me, why weren't you there?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It was one of the hardest questions, but when she said it, I smiled because I knew one day this conversation would happen. And through that conversation, I was able to give her my perspective without tearing her mother down. Then I
Gotcha.
said, now go talk to your mother. Her mother was able to give her perspective without tearing me down. And then we both came together and talked to her to give her some clarity. We as parents have to be willing to be honest with our children, particularly when they're old enough to understand it, and be transparent to say, I want better for you because I didn't make the best decisions. I don't want
Mhm.
you to ever be in a situation where you're not in the household with your child because you made a bad decision. Now, if it happens, these are the things you can do to try to minimize it.
Yeah.
But we have to be willing to be honest and open and be adults about it without bashing. Because bashing
Yeah.
not going to do anything but create more tension, more division. So, yeah, that was mine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey man. Yeah, bro. We
Yeah,
got to hey man, we
yeah.
got to yeah, you got to write a book. Yeah.
Uh,
Hey maybe next time we get on here, have a couple cigars or something, lighten the mood. I knew you had one. I knew you had one. Hey,
Hey
yeah,
man, we could
man.
definitely do that, man. As a matter of fact, I enjoyed this conversation. Iron sharpens iron. You and I have a great relationship. We've been brothers a long time. Maybe we can get together at least once a month, a couple times a month. We can just have some general conversation, let people know these are just two black men doing the best we can in life, giving you the advice that we have, whether you utilize it or not. These are our truths. These are the things we went through, and maybe we can help somebody while we're helping each other as well.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna hold you to that, man. Once a month.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm with it.
jumping in the lab. Look, I can change my background next time. You got the hat on there. I mean, I don't know what
Oh man, come on, man. You know I got to fit it.
I don't know what I'm gonna throw in the background, but I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out.
All right, good.